welcome to Transformative Technology Community pods, and this pod is about transformation gene. And today we were going to speak about vectoral transformation, and that's pod number 4, which means we already had 3 pods, and I will quickly recap what did we have already reviewed before. All of these pods are recorded and available for the community, and especially for the full members that have this full membership and they have the access to the depth of the transformation and the depth of the transformative technology and all of the ways that we would like to help billions of people to achieve the state of well-being by using technologies and helping ourselves to overcome different behavioral challenges and other circumstances. So here we go. We have the 8 components of transformation. So the whole transformation component starts not at the noon or midnight. It starts a little bit earlier. So it starts here with the energetic intelligence. That was pod number 2. Then the next is about transformation gene, which is the actually headline of all of this series. And this is how it started. So the actual pod number 1 was about the transformation gene. But I would keep the numbers as they are right now, because that's how the journey of transformation works. So first of all, we understand the human energetic intelligence. So we are not accumulators, we are converters of energy. We have access to different energies, including money, including natural resources, including our own biological energy. And then we go to the transformation gene, which says that we have innate understanding how the change works, because otherwise we wouldn't evolve until this point. And then later we go into the details. So pod number 3 was about typology of change. So we have 3 kinds of change, very short, very limited, which is like a dot, which is a transaction. So one time, but it doesn't promise anything about the future. Then we have a transition, which is a period of time, which means we promise ourselves and others, we're gonna comply. We're gonna exercise more, we're gonna eat healthier, we're gonna read more, we possibly will write more, stay away from the screen, so forth and so forth. That's for a period of time. But then if we really want to transform, we have to remove the end date, because that's the trap. That's the psychological trap when we say to ourselves, I'm going to stay away from something like sugar for a month. What happens after a month? Back on the track, and maybe even worse. So therefore, removing the deadline from the time period, which converts into the arrow, into the endless arrow, which means a direction where people would desire to go. And if there is no endpoint, people, instead of looking for the deadline as the release date from the psychological jail, they are more looking for questions inside. Who do I need to become? How I should elevate or upgrade or update my identity so I can match with my desired arrow. And that's what I'm going to speak today. That's about vectoral transformation. Vector is an arrow which starts today and it points to the future, where a person wants to be different in a certain behavior, in a certain decision making. And then today we will go deeper into this vectoral transformation. How does it work and how to use it? There is a tool. Everyone can use it in their private lives, in their organizations, and any other circumstances. So this is a recap that I already just explained very briefly. So the 3 types of changes, but now it's illustrated. So the first is transition. And transition is quite easy to achieve if you put some punishment over yourself, or somebody puts punishment over you and you want to avoid it. So to avoid it, you kind of comply with that one particular time and case. And then transition, as you see, there are case carrots. So people are sensitive to rewards. So if they know they're going to have a reward after a period of time, they might comply, they might change their behavior for that period of time to get that specific carrot and benefit. And then you see on the right-hand side, the transformation. So what is the source of motivation available for transformation? Is other people. It's how we are naturally predispositioned to look at others, be inspired, be encouraged, and be constantly influenced by other examples. And especially if you look at the positive examples, we are more encouraged to do the same, because we, for the most part, can achieve similar things as the others do. And then we are not tied into this avoiding the pain or looking for the pleasure, but we are more trying to get the same access to the same transformation gene that others are exposing to us. Those well-performing people are shining that possibility to us. And then it's only about getting it and activating the same power that others already have done it. So the positive examples are shining this power that everyone has, the transformation gene, and then people can look for that inside of themselves and activate it. So this is the summary of pod number 3, Typology of Change. There is a separate video if you want to watch it in full, but today we're going to look at the vectoral transformation. So here we can see arrows in different colors. So the green is where we would like to go. And you see this green element moved over the screen. That means if we are willing to be consistent, if we have made a decision, so we will do something different in our lives. And that's the green direction, the green arrow, the green vector. Whenever we need to make a decision, every single day, every single time, with regards to this change, the most difficult is to be consistent with that, because every moment there might be different reasoning, different logic, different excuses coming into your mind saying, well, maybe this time, maybe you can skip that stretching in the morning because you already did the workout yesterday. Or, you know, maybe your back a little bit hurts and maybe that's why you will skip your 10-minute stretching in the morning. Or whatever are the circumstances, the constant stream of thoughts would try and would constantly distort your attention to where you want to go. Vectoral transformation keeps your attention onto the green vector, onto the target, onto the direction where you want to go. Why the other arrows, the yellow and the red, are so important? Because there has to be a clear answer. What will happen if you move away from the green, your desired direction? That means if you make a decision not to do what you promised to do, you are not on the green vector anymore, and you are on one of the other vectors. So let me show you how does it work. So here is another example, and you see this green thing is moving, and then up and away from the arrow. And that was this kind of one day, one time excuse that person said to himself, herself, saying, but this is how geometry works. You see the red thing was the actual outcome. So whenever you step away from your desired trajectory, you end up on a different arrow. That's how geometry works. And if you have that simplistic visual feedback mechanism as the vectoral transformation, and you already know where is your green vector, and then you know if you deviate from it, you will be on the yellow vectors, or if you deviate more, you will be on the red ones. And that means you will never get to where you want. That's how geometry works, straight lines with arrows. Once you're on the green, you are on the green. When you step away, you are on a different one. So, and then in the long term, it will lead further and further away from where you actually want to get. So that's the fundament of vectoral transformation. And I would suggest now we will do a little exercise by practicing it. So I will open up possibility on the shared Google Slides and see how we will together work with this. So what we will see in this practice template is this. So first of all, on the top here, on the upper side, there is this yellow box which says type here. And that's exactly would be an example what change a person would like to achieve in his or her life, or what kind of change organization would like to achieve. Very particular. And that would be the target. That would be written on the top, where it's written type here. And then on the right-hand side, you see the yellow frame. On top of it's actually the green frame, the yellow, and the red. And that would represent how the behavior would look like if the person is complying with the chosen green direction. And then yellow, how it would look if the person would decide to deviate a little bit from the green. How would it sound? How would it look? And how would it look if the person deviates even more? Why it's important? Because sometimes people say, well, I will do this change in my life, and then there is no clear way how to follow up, how to be consistent, and how would look the other arrows next to it. People are keeping this ambiguity just to avoid this clear possibility to see themselves. Therefore, vectoral transformation makes the game very transparent, green vector is this, and this is how it looks, and this is how your behavior and how your decisions would look on the green vector, and then very clear how it would look on the yellow and how it would look on the red. And when it's clear, people every time before making a decision, they are aware. If decision comes that are similar to the yellow, they are not on the green vector. And it comes when it's similar to the red, then people are even further away from their green vector. So those were the introduction to the vectoral transformation. And now I will switch over to share the Google Slides. So I'll stop sharing this screen. And now in a few seconds, we will start to do the interactive part. The beauty of all of this transformation is the simplicity. So for the bigger problem, which would be sugar, let's make it as small as possible for the practice, only for the practice, so that the learning happens on the small thing. Then later, it can always be scaled back to the bigger thing. So let's make it a very, very tangible, very, very tiny thing. Cake and baked desserts, that's the subject. Or no, object, that's the object. And then it's very precise, 1 serving a week. And we can observe servings very precisely. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever that is. So green vector in this case is to comply perfectly with what's written on above the green arrow. Pretty much repeats that. So which means you stay on the track with that direction which says one serving in a week. It's kind of repetitive, but it's important to understand. So if that's the goal, so on top of the slide, it says the goal. And the green frame repeats it because you're staying with your goal precisely. That's why it's kind of a little bit repeats, but that's a good also for our brain neurons to remember that. So that's good. Only 1 serving a week. So what happens 1 frame below? Naturally, it's a deviation. And it's easy, yes, 2 or 3 servings, exactly. And then we can continue. You're good. That's nice. Yes, yes. That's how it works, as easy as it is. And now, what's the beauty of this? The beauty is, once you have this arrows in your living space, in your kitchen, anywhere you would feel comfortable by seeing it frequently, especially when those servings are done, immediately your habits and your maybe previous behavioral patterns would be trying to convince you internally, silently, but still like sending you different signals saying, well, but maybe you had this hard work, you worked and then you lost, like you used a lot of energy and your energy is low, well, maybe you will do this. What you will know by seeing these arrows, you will immediately see yourself. So let's say week starts on Sunday, and so you don't have that serving. So there is a Monday, Tuesday, and then on Tuesday you get this 1 serving of cake and baked desserts, whatever that is, and you got that on Tuesday. Now comes Wednesday, and then Thursday, and then comes Friday, and then comes Saturday, and then it becomes very tempting, like, oh, I'm almost in the next week, right? So I'm almost there, but not there. So the different thoughts come to your mind. But once you see the arrows, and you see if you will decide to take the second serving, boom, you're away from the green, you're onto the yellow. And then you ask yourself, if I will deviate to the yellow, I will not be on the green anymore. And do I want that or not? So this is how it really helps by simplifying, making everything transparent. The whole point of the vectoral transformation is having the clarity during the times of heavy engagement of different other thoughts. So whenever you have this dark clouds with all of the tensions and temptations coming over you, and you also might have this state of being tired, That's fine. We always have that. But we never really lose the awareness. We never really lose the logic. And this is the tool is giving and keeping the logic straight, and you to be keeping yourself accountable, whatever the reasons, because you already said there might be thousands of reasons, and they can be so smart. They come in different forms, in different ways, and at different times, and they look for the crack in the shell, right? And then this tool helps you to keep your desired direction strong. And then in the result, what it gives you personally, it gives the ability to listen more carefully where the thoughts come from and question every thought. And also, it also enables and empowers people to be clearer inside who is speaking. What are these voices? Maybe those are just maintained secret agents, or parts of the created self that has been developed previously, saying, oh, I'm always the person who is eating whenever I want, whatever I want. And this is some kind of fake identity, or at least artificial identity that has been implanted, and now it gradually is revealed by using this tool. And I would agree with you, you can always adjust it to the degree which would be more comforting for you. So you can go up and down, but at least whenever you go to the particular chosen frequency, in this case, 1 serving or 2 or whatever is the green, but you are clear what would be the yellow and red. And then you can also twist it or adjust it as you feel you're progressing. I think the most important of this tool is give you the sense of agency. So you are driving the show, not something else or some thoughts randomly kind of abusing your states of mind.